Hey, and welcome back. This is Zach Winters, and of course, this is Winter Brothers Stories. Today, we have a very special guest. It's, of course, Melissa Wright. Melissa was best friends with Amber Costello, and this is going back into about 97, all the way up to when she disappeared in 2010. Today being the anniversary of her disappearance, I thought it would be appropriate to put the interview out unedited in its entirety. After speaking with Melissa, I felt like I had a really good understanding of who Amber was. At some points it was, it even choked me up a little bit. I think that, you'll find this interview to be very emotional and interesting, and I think you'll also have a better understanding of who Amber is. Originally, I was going to splice it into our memorial video, but I felt like it was less impactful. It took away from the way Melissa was able to tell the story. So, of course, we're going to put it out this way. The memorial video will still come out. It'll probably come out next week. Again, it's a lot of work, so I am working on it. But I also wanted to address that I'd like to continue to do some videos like this. I know I put a poll up in the community tab and people are still interested. So I would just want to invite, if there's anyone else, friends, family, that want to talk with us on or off the camera, we'd love to do that as well. So just reach out. I'll put my email address in the description. And, that's anyone else. If anyone else just wants to talk, we do get random emails. It's always nice to hear from you guys. I just want to thank the people that have reached out. We also had our first member join. I thought it was something a little silly to put up. Felt a little funny, but I guess it's YouTube. So, thanks for joining. And then outside of that, we do have a lot of unseen pictures of Amber, which we'll be, slowly putting out with the memorial video. Maybe put a few in the community tab. And then outside of that, also wanted to just, thank you for watching. We really do appreciate it. We've seen a lot more views recently. And as the content gets better, I hope you guys enjoy it. If you could just give us a thumbs up and comment, all that stuff that YouTubers have to ask. I hate asking for it, but it's the only way for these videos to get seen by a larger audience. Again, as the views rack up, there will be some ad money, and we'll be looking to donate that. As soon as we do, we'll release where we, put it towards. I know a few people have made some really good suggestions, so thanks for that. But, that's all I got for you right now. Watch the video. I really hope you like it, and stay tuned. Thanks.
How'd you meet her?
So
Okay.
yeah, you can just start where you met her.
Okay. So we met Myrtle Grove Middle School, 7th grade, 95, 96, somewhere in there. It wasn't the first day of school. I remember that, though. I remember it wasn't the first day of school. It's almost like she came in the middle of the year. Because she wasn't there, and then bam, here's this kid. So
This is in North Carolina, right?
yes, this is in Wilmington, North Carolina, Myrtle Grove Middle School. It's in the area called Monkey Junction.
Okay.
The first time I saw her, like I said, I'm 5'3". I haven't grown since I was 12 years old. I was a short kid in 7th grade. I was one of the youngest in my class. And I remember seeing this really short girl, like way shorter than everyone else. And I was like, whoa, is that like a 4th grader? And then she was in a group of people and she was talking. They were in the hallway talking because classes were changing. And she was holding her notebooks up against her chest and she laughed. And the laugh was just so energetic and loud. It carried through over into the corridor and it made me, turn like, whoa, for her to be so little, she's very loud. Yeah. And that's where I was like, I have to meet her. Like, she's unique. She's just looked cool to me. And we started talking. And I remember we had a couple classes together. And we would, snicker and make faces and stuff in class. But mostly we would do our talking when classes were changing.
Okay.
And we would, talk about what so-and-so said in whatever class or whatever rumors were going around. It was girl talk. We would sit there and tell each other what rumors we had heard. Oh, no, I didn't know about that, that kind of thing. And we'd snicker and we'd go back on to our next class. Amber was living, when she attended Myrtle Grove Middle School, when she came in, she told me she was living in Carolina Beach. Mom, Dad, and I think her sister Kim were working at a pizzeria. I don't know if the name was Mama Mia's. That name sticks out to me. Right. But it might have been another restaurant. and they were living in a motel on the island. The way Carolina Beach is, I mean, it's a tourist community, so it's overpriced.
Got it.
And it may have been all they could afford on their salary, or it may have been because the motel was close to their job because they were right there on the island. Because the island had everything you needed, you didn't have to leave. Myrtle Grove was the closest middle school for Carolina Beach. Wilmington didn't have very many middle schools. She went to Myrtle Grove all of 7th grade. And then she moved, and I didn't see her. She didn't even tell me she moved. It was just like, bam, she moved.
Wow.
And I remember being pretty sad. Like, my little friend was gone. Yeah. And my mom and I moved. We moved from the Monkey Junction area, and we moved into the center of Wilmington.
Okay.
And that was the start of 8th grade. And I started attending Williston Middle School. And the way the school is set up in the mornings, if your car pickup, you walk out of your car off the sidewalk and you stand into this field that's in the front of the school. And when the school bell rings, everyone goes to their homeroom teacher. And I remember it being kind of foggy. It's cold morning. And I heard that laugh across the field. And I was like, that sounds like Amber. No way. Is that Amber? And I remember looking through, you know, all these people. And with her being so short, I couldn't find her. And so I started looking at ankles. I'm like, okay, I'm going to recognize her. Where is she? And as the crowd started to part, there was Amber. And I remember yelling across the field. I was so excited.
Yeah.
I was like, Amber. And she like turned around, gave me a big old wave and a smile. And she's like, girl, hey, girl. And she comes running across. And remember, we hugging each other and just being happy. We're back together. The smile she gave, and she had the little giggle while she was smiling. Amber could not help but giggle when she smiled. Okay. And I can't even do her laugh, her giggle. I would chop it up. Okay. She just had this infectious laugh, and it would make you giggle. Like, it didn't matter how mean of a person you were. It would make you giggle. She was funny. And I remember us going to our homerooms. We did not have the same homeroom, and I was kind of bummed about that. And we didn't have any classes together except for last period. We had math together. And so I remember us passing notes, making plans for the weekend, because, you know, we're reunited. We got so much to catch up on. And I never rode the bus. My mom would pick me up.
Right.
And so we would arrange it. We would go down to the office, you know, and call my mom. Hey, Mom, can Amber come home today with me? And my mom would go, sure, I'll meet y'all at the curb. And school would let out, and Amber would ride home with us. Or she'd come hang out at the house for a little bit, and my mom would take her home. Because a lot of times Kim had the car. I think by this time, Kim was working fast food, Domino's, Burger King, somewhere in there. So she had the car, and she was going to school. She was going to college, TFCC. I don't know if it was high school diploma or college credits. I'm not sure. Just remember her going to school and having the car during the day.
She had
so a lot of times,
at this point, right?
Yeah. So a lot of times she was, Amber needed a ride home because there wouldn't be anyone, or she'd have to ride the bus. And she didn't like riding the bus because the bus is hot and it takes like an hour to get home and all of that stuff. Well, she'd come home with us and we would hang out. We would go in my room. We would turn on the radio because we both love music.
Yeah.
And we'd grab the hairbrush or the curling iron, not plugged in or anything, but grab the curling iron, and, you know, we're singing. And I remember we all loved Aaliyah. We loved Genuine. We loved Tupac, Biggie. Amber knew all the words to all the songs. She loved music. Yeah. And we would just giggle and roll on the floor, eat all of my mom's snacks out of the kitchen. And kind of ransack my bedroom, trying on clothes and just doing girl stuff, painting each other's nails, that kind of stuff. And my mom would take Amber home. And then it got to the point where my mom would go pick Amber up for school. So Amber wouldn't have to ride the bus or, you know, that kind of thing. So we would ride to school together. We would ride home from school together. And if she wasn't at my house, I was at her house.
Got it.
And we just didn't go to my house once my mom started working third shift because my mom needed to sleep. She would pick me up. She'd go home and she'd go back to sleep before she had to go to work. So we would go to Amber's house. And I remember we would walk in Amber's. Marissa, Kim's firstborn, is in the baby swing. She's 6 months or so. And Amber's mom is on the couch because she would babysit while Amber was in school. And Amber would pick up Marissa and she'd give her hugs and kisses and tell her mom, hey, Mom, if you're tired, go upstairs, take a nap. I've got the baby. You know, you look tired. So Mom would go upstairs to go take a nap, get some rest. And Amber would take over. She would take care of Marissa. And we would sit there on the couch. And I don't remember them having cable.
Okay.
I remember Rabbit Ears being on the TV. So we probably had a choice of 3 channels. And I remember sitting there and watching TV with her, and we would crack open our school books and we would do homework while she had Marissa in her lap.
Got it.
Marissa was her baby, basically. Even though it was Kim's, it was like, oh, this is my child. Amber loved babies. She was the same way with my nephew. There's a picture of us Thanksgiving. She loved babies. I remember, let me think. After school and stuff, my mom worked 3rd shift. And instead of me staying home by myself, because my mom was a single mom, we had the idea, hey, Mom, can I move into Amber's?
Oh.
Because Amber, there was 3 bedrooms in their house.
Okay.
One had a waterbed in it. That was her mom and dad's room. There was nothing else in that room but a waterbed and a fan. That's all that was in there. Her sister's room it was either a full or a queen size bed, 1 dresser, and Marissa's crib. And then there was a 3rd room that faced out at the front of the apartment that looked over the basketball courts, and it had nothing in it. Like, there wasn't a bed. There was a little bit of stuff piled on the floor, shoebox, few clothes. And that, I guess, was Amber's room. Because
Wow.
we would go up in that room and I'd bring my boombox over and we would turn on music and we would dance in that room. And because that's basically what we did with our time as teenagers was listen to music and dance. And before my bed moved in, we would sleep on the waterbed in her parents' room. And I remember her mom would sleep on the couch. I don't remember where Dad would sleep. He may have been at work. I don't remember. Being a kid, I don't think I paid too much.
With the parents.
Yeah, I didn't pay too much attention to Dad. Mom was always downstairs. If Mom wasn't downstairs, Mom was upstairs. Her mom didn't leave. She was always home.
Was she close with her mother?
She loved her mom.
Okay.
She loved her mom deeply. She really did. Her mom, out of both of her parents, she was a mama's girl.
Got it.
I remember Kim started working on a call service. I remember Amber not liking that and telling her no.
Cheers.
Hey, that's not safe. I love you. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
But Kim's an adult. She can do what she wants. Amber was a minor. You know, we did our own thing. Amber wasn't like that. Amber just liked to talk to people. She liked to hear people's stories. If someone was in trouble, she would try to find a way to help them. Even if it was a money thing, and Amber didn't have any money, she would go and network and ask friends, hey, can you help this person?
Yeah.
If she didn't have the means, it was word of mouth. She would literally reach out to everybody. Kim, she looked up to Kim, and she loved her a lot. And if she had problems that she didn't want to talk to her parents about, she would go to Kim and try to get guidance from Kim, or she'd come to me. I was like the mom of the group. Amber was a 4'11" fireball. Okay. She had so much personality in that little body.
Yeah.
And she wanted to do it all. Okay. She literally was everywhere. So I felt like I was always running, trying to catch up with her.
Got it.
If we went shopping, she was 10 steps ahead of me.
Yeah.
And so her little legs could carry her pretty fast.
Sure.
But I remember, like, not to get off track, but a funny story. We were at my dad's. I didn't go to my dad's often. My mom had full custody of me. But we went to my dad's, and my dad had a hot tub. And Amber and I had been in the hot tub all afternoon. And Amber decided to lay on the side of the hot tub. Now, this hot tub has like a 3.5 to 4 foot drop to the deck.
Wow.
And she's laying on her side and she goes to flip her hair. And when she flips her hair, she falls off the hot tub and smacks the deck.
Oh, no.
Okay. And I'm like, oh no, like
Yeah.
I'm thinking as I peek over, my friend's hurt. She pops up, doesn't skip a beat, and she's like, I'm okay. And I just start laughing. I'm like, girl, you're crazy. She goes, I have to use the bathroom. So she goes to run off the deck to go into the house. The glass door was open, but the screen door was shut.
Got
Now,
it.
without even looking, she's still looking at me in the hot tub, laughing hysterically. She walks right into the screen door, knocks it off the tracks.
Yeah.
I mean, like we're laughing, but we're also going, oh my God, my dad, like we're destroying his property
Yeah.
intentionally.
No.
So she just kept me on my toes with, she was clumsy, but funny about it. Okay.
Yeah.
She's one of those, if you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at? Okay.
Yeah.
She liked to be the center of attention. I know that much. And it wasn't,
She like
look at me. It wasn't a look at me. It just happened naturally. Okay. It was just this light she exuded from herself. She could get in a room with people she's never met out of a demographic she's not even familiar with and would be best friends with all of them. That's just the type of person she was. She could find common ground in anyone. And I think that's what I respected most about her and I looked up to, was just how genuinely kind she was to people. I don't ever remember her hating someone or I don't like this person because of this. She was never that way.
She was very positive.
Yeah, very, very positive. It didn't matter. I mean, if you looked at where she lived and the very little bit of stuff she had, I would have been depressed, highly, highly depressed. I mean, I'm not trying to sound entitled by any means. I was raised by a single mother.
Sure.
I didn't have a lot myself, but I definitely had more than she did. She was happy. I mean, material things really weren't her thing. That wasn't what made her happy. I think just living made her happy.
Yeah.
Seeing smiles on people that she loved, like making people smile was her thing. I remember birthday parties for like my nephew or my family. Amber came with us. Amber was as much a part of the family as any blood family member that I had. And I felt the same way with her family. I always felt welcome. And they were great people. They were nice. They were never mean to me. And they treated Amber with respect. They loved her. I can tell that they were a type of family that didn't have a whole lot, but they had love. Yeah. And that's something that money can't buy.
Yeah.
And I remember 97, I met my husband.
Okay.
Amber and I were attached at the hip. We were a combo deal. There wasn't a day that we weren't together. I moved my stuff into Amber's around that time, my day bed and everything. So Amber had a bed.
Yeah.
And we would sleep head to feet kind of thing. I remember we would take baths together and we would get ready together to go out, meaning my boyfriend, husband now, he drove because we're like 14. He was 16, 17 years old. He drove. So he would pick us up and we would go down to Carolina Beach and we would go to the party boats, which is it doesn't have alcohol. It's for underage kids. They play dance music, rap music, R&B, and you get to travel on this boat through the inlet as you're dancing on this loud music on a Saturday night, because it was only like Friday or Saturdays. Yeah. We always stayed home. We didn't go anywhere. She didn't like to roller skate. I loved to roller skate, and the roller skating just wasn't her thing. So she introduced me to the party boat and like the Carolina Beach scene, because even though I'm from Wilmington, I didn't spend a lot of time on the island.
Got it.
So she knew about island life, the boardwalk, the party boats, that whole thing. So we would go down to the beach and we would either go to the boardwalk and play arcade games. We'd go to the party boat and we would dance. And then my husband or boyfriend would bring us back to Amber's. We would be home by 10:30.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
had curfews. So, I mean, we were home by curfew time, and he would drop us
No
off.
drinking or anything like that going on?
No, we didn't sneak out just because where she lived was not safe late at night. It's inner city. It was in government housing. I remember someone being shot
Okay. Yeah.
in the corridor behind her building,
Yeah.
but it was what her family could afford.
Did that affect her at all? Did it have any influence on her?
I, to be honest with you, I really couldn't tell you. It had an influence on me because I had never heard a gunshot before in my life. I remember when that happened. It was daytime. Amber was sitting on the couch and I was in the chair. We were in the living room and I heard a pop. And I was like, what was that? And I heard it towards the kitchen. So I went to just instinct to go run towards the kitchen. And Amber was right behind me. So I don't think Amber knew what it was either.
Okay.
And I remember Kim running down the stairs and going, don't go to the window. That was a gunshot. So I don't know if she was upstairs and she saw what happened because there were windows on the back of the apartment.
Yeah.
Or if she was just familiar with the sound.
Got it.
But Amber and we both went to go look. So I don't think she knew what that was. And anything that she learned, like living there, I'm pretty sure her sister would be like, hey, don't go here or don't talk to them.
Got it.
You know, she would kind of make her aware.
Yeah.
Amber was more street smart. And I think it was because of Kim.
Was Kim?
She didn't know. She knew more than a 14-year-old, but she didn't know everything. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
She was still a good girl. She's always been a good girl. She just didn't live that kind of life. But I think living there, everyone there was nice. No one was mean, okay, in that community, even though it was, if you will, the ghetto. They were all family. Like I said, Amber could walk on the sidewalk in the daytime and wave and say hello to everyone. They called her baby girl because, I mean, she was so little. It was like, hey, baby girl. Or they would call her half slice because she was so little. But everyone knew her. Everyone was nice to her. Hey, Amber, how you doing today? Or, hey, baby girl, how are you today? And she'd wave and go, I'm fine. And she'd keep right on walking. She always greeted everybody with a smile. I remember going to the corner store to get snacks. She would walk in and she would smile and ask the person, how was your day? How are you? I never remember her being rude to anybody. She had manners. She always said, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, thank you, please, all of that.
And it sounds like she was genuinely interested in what people had to say.
Yeah, she was a people person. I mean, everyone has a story. Amber wanted to hear it, no matter if it was sad or if it was happy, she rooted everybody on. When my husband and I met in 97, like I said, he drove. He had a little lowrider truck. I remember one night I think we had gone to the party boats. We had done something that night. Maybe we had just rode around Wilmington. We might have gone to the mall, and then once the mall closed, we rode around because that's, what kids do. He had a very cool lowrider with like ground effect lights and everything. And Amber loved his truck. She always kept going, let me drive it. Let me drive it. And I was like, no, you're not old enough. Okay. So I remember her and I having a stupid idea of, hey, let's get in the bed of the truck. Let's let him drive over the Cape Fear Memorial Bridge while we stand up. Like totally dangerous. Do not do that. Okay. Obviously, I'm here today. She was too. We both made it out. But I remember riding in the back of the truck and going over the bridge. We're going like 55 miles an hour.
Wow.
And Amber would like not throw her shirt up where you could see anything, but enough to make a sail, okay, and blow her back a little bit. I'm like, Amber, that's dangerous. And I remember grabbing her and going, dude, you're not thinking, don't do that. So as we're sitting here looking at each other like, yeah, let's sit down. And we go to sit down, a bug flew and smacked her right in the head. I heard the smack and her going, oh, ow, what was that? And I'm like, dude, was that a bug that just hit you? And she's like, I think so. And so the whole time we're sitting down, we're laughing hysterically. Yeah. She's rubbing her forehead like, I wasn't planning on a bug getting me.
Yeah.
So we made my husband go back and forth over that bridge probably 3 or 4 times that night
Oh,
because it was just so much fun feeling the wind in our hair.
yeah.
We weren't standing up anymore. We were sitting down. We
Like-
learned the first ride over not to do that. And as a child, you don't know that people can die doing that.
Yeah.
So we didn't know. And then that's when we were like, hey, we shouldn't do that. So, I mean, we would do dumb stuff like Jackass, welcome to Jackass kind of thing. But no, nothing.
It sounds like it was a small town, so you had to make your own fun, right?
Well, Wilmington looks large, but if you're a native from there, everyone knows everyone. It's what it seems like. It's starting to get larger now.
Okay.
But back in like 97, there wasn't a whole lot to do.
Yeah.
You could roller skate, you could go to the party boat, the boardwalk. It's a beach community. I mean, you can walk the beach all you want. There's 4 different beaches there, but it was for older people. It's 18 and over, and we weren't old enough. So the most we would ever do is go over to Joey's house, which Amber introduced me to. He lived in the same apartment area. He was a very nice
friend.
Do what?
Did Amber have a boyfriend?
No, I don't remember her having a boyfriend. I remember her having crushes,
Sure.
like people, she thought were cute, but there was no serious boyfriend. And I think that was the issue whenever I started dating my boyfriend. I started spending more time with him.
Yeah.
And I think it hurt Amber's feelings because we were together every day. And I mean, like I said, we did everything together. Baths, food, everything. And when I stopped spending every day with her and it went to like maybe 3 days a week, it started to bother her. So I remember my husband and her, it's not that they ever got in a fight.
Yeah.
They just kind of stayed away from each other. Like, she doesn't like me, I don't like her. Well, they made up, for the sake of me, they got along.
Yeah.
But that's when we started to drift apart. And we went to New Hanover High School. This is 9th grade. And we didn't have any classes together at all, not even homeroom. And the way the campus is on one side of Market Street, and then the rest of the classes are on the other side of Market Street.
Okay.
And you have this huge catwalk overpass to get to the other buildings. So the only time I would really see Amber is passing over the catwalk or at lunch. So it got really hard. It got really hard to like see each other. And she didn't have a phone, so I couldn't call her. She had a pager. So I could page her and she'd go over to Joey's and I could talk to her on the phone and we would make plans. So that's how it would get to where we would make plans because we weren't seeing each other as much in school.
Got it.
And by this time, my stuff's still at her house, like my day bed and everything's still there. I had a spare bed, so I wasn't missing it, but it was like, hey, I'm going to have to get my stuff soon, but have you gotten a bed? But she was still using it, so I didn't take it. I was like, you can continue to use it.
Well, that was nice.
Yeah, I mean, I loved her. She was like my sister. I'd have done anything for her. And I remember it was 99. I got pregnant at 15. And he's now almost 24. And Amber had stopped going to New Hanover. She just quit going to school.
Oh, wow.
There was no warning. She didn't say, hey, I'm not feeling school. I know she was missing a lot of days.
Got it.
And I think maybe she felt like since she was missing so many days, she couldn't catch up.
Was there any reason that she was missing school?
Not that I know of, because like I said, this is when we started to drift apart. So I don't really know what was happening at home. I don't know if she was staying up late taking care of the baby, if she was doing other things. I really don't know. She didn't fill me in as much. And like I said, once I got pregnant, New Hanover High School was a rough high school. And the corridors are a lot of stairs. It's like a 3-story school. And I actually quit. I dropped out. I mean, I've gone back since and done my thing. But I didn't see Amber anymore. She quit right before me, and then I quit.
Do you know what age she was? What age she was when she quit high school?
So if I was 15, she was 16 years old. Because in North Carolina, you can drop out at the age of 16.
Oh, okay.
So she had to have been 16 years old. Because I got pregnant in March of 99. Well, yes, no, excuse me. Yes, 99. Had to think for a minute. So she probably left probably her birthday, February.
Mm.
And she was gone. I didn't see her anymore. And the whole time I was pregnant, my husband's family was living in a place called Sunset Park, which is about 2 miles from where Amber's apartment was, that government housing apartment. And even though we were 2 miles apart, I never saw her. I still didn't have a car. I'm 15 years old, you know.
Yeah.
My husband had a vehicle, but he was always at work. And I remember I was at a friend's house in Sunset Park. And by now I've had my son. So this is probably 2000.
Okay.
Because I had him November of 99. So probably springtime, if not summer of 2000. I'm outside and I see this girl walking down the street. And Amber has a very distinct figure, like you know it's her. And I said her name, but I'm really bad for one of those. I'll see someone in public and think it's them and say their name and it's not them.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, sorry, you know. But I hollered out her name and she stopped right there in the street and she turned at me and I'm like, we did it again, you know, like Amber. And she comes running up and I introduced my son to her. And I was like, I've missed you. How are you? And she said, I'm doing fine. I'm living in Castle Hayne. So I thought she was still 2 miles down the road.
Got it.
By then she had moved. Castle Hayne is on it's like a suburb of Wilmington. So it's 10 miles out, give or take, maybe 5. I don't know.
Right.
So, but it's what we deem the country. She's no longer in the city.
Got it.
So I'm like, wow, like you're way out there. Like I'll never see you, you know. And I didn't see her again after that day. I didn't see her again.
Oh.
So this is 2000. Okay. Years go by and I hadn't heard from her. And I always thought about her. Amber was always on my mind. Like she imprinted on me so hard and just the feelings that she left behind of just the type of person she was. You know, I've never met anyone like her. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never had a best friend as close as I did with Amber. Like I don't want to cry.
Oh. Sorry.
She was very special to me. And in 2008, I'm on either MySpace or Facebook. And I'd always search her name and it would never come up. Amber Overstreet. Amber Lynn Overstreet. Could never find her. And I would even search for her sister Kim. And I couldn't find them. And then 2008, I put in Facebook, Amber Overstreet. And this picture popped up and it said Amber Costello. And I was like, Amber has a distinct nose.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she has Amber's nose. But it doesn't look like Amber. She's grown. Because, I mean, I'm still envisioning little 16-year-old Amber.
Sure.
And by now we're in our 20s. And I wrote her a message. And I was like, hey, I'm Melissa. Are you Amber Overstreet? Because you look just like my best friend from Wilmington. But
Wow.
if you're not her, please disregard. I'm not a crazy person. You just really look like my best friend. And she wrote me back and she was like, hey girl, yeah, it's me. How are you?
That's awesome.
And so we exchanged phone numbers. So there wasn't like any more messaging going on Facebook. We just started calling each other. And she was living in Clearwater, Florida.
Okay.
She was married. She had met Don and she was going to church. And she told me that she had been baptized out at the beach in the ocean. And Amber loved the beach. She loved the ocean. And she's like, I've been baptized. I volunteer in the nursery at the church, which I thought was awesome because she loved babies.
Yeah.
So she got to spend all her time with the little kids. And she was like, I've got this little boy, you know, he's the light of my life. I want to adopt him.
That's
And
Gabriel.
yeah, and that's Gabriel. And that's all she talked about was Gabriel. She loved him to the ends of the earth.
You could tell.
She showered him with so many gifts. He it looks like she bought out the whole toy store for Christmas for him. They went to so many different places. They went to the beach, they went to the park. Anywhere she could take him, she took him. She wanted him to see the world while she had him. And everything sounded great. Her life was going in a positive way, and I couldn't be more proud of her. I was so happy that she finally found happiness.
Yeah.
She had security, and she didn't have to scrounge for anything. There's no more counting change to get something to eat, you know. And I love that for her because she deserved it. She deserved to have the best life.
Yeah.
And then we stopped talking. Like I didn't hear from her. And
tell you how she met Don?
No, I think they met in church, but I'm not 100% on that. She just told me he was a really great guy and that he was involved with the church.
Did she go to church when you knew her? Was that something she would normally do?
No. That's why I thought it was really cool that she had actually gone that path in life because both of her parents were alcoholics. So like she didn't have the best support. I mean, her parents were sick. There wasn't, it was beyond that. Okay. Like, I don't think rehab could help her parents. So she just did the best she could. And she would fill in, see a need, fill a need. That was Amber in home and anywhere. So I thought it was awesome that she had found God.
Yeah.
And that she was going on that path. And I'm like, wow, that's a complete, you've gone from living here and now you're down in Florida. You have a son. You're going to church. Not only is she just attending church, but she's doing the nursery. She was helping with plays.
Okay.
She was very involved. And the way she described it to me, she loved her church family. They had people over for dinner and they would entertain and she would go to their house and I don't remember their names. I just remember her talking nothing but positive things. Like, there wasn't anything bad that was really going on in her life.
Those pictures.
Yeah.
They're happy.
Yeah. I'll say, I look at her Facebook all the time and, I comment on it a lot and, like I can still talk to her.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like my way of coping. Cause I don't know where she is. I don't know where her ashes are. She was supposed to come to Wilmington.
Okay.
And as far as I know, she didn't make it to Wilmington.
Got it.
I used to visit her dad. Her dad ended up, when she was in New York, I guess, her dad was in a state-owned facility home. And I would go see Al. And Al talked about her. He loved her. He's like, have you heard from Amber? And it broke my heart that I had to go see him after she was gone.
Oh.
But even though he had his own demons, Al was a very nice man. And he loved his daughter. I could tell by the way I took him a picture of Amber and set it on his nightstand. He lit up just to see her face because he didn't have anything in his room. So it was nice to be able to give him that little bit of happiness back. I wish it could have been more than that. It could really be Amber because she should be here today.
Was he alive when everything happened at the end?
Do what?
Was he alive when everything happened at the end?
No. He was still alive whenever she died. And I went and saw him and he remembered me. This is when I went to go see him the first time. He remembered me. He was like, I remember you. Oh yeah, you were always at the house. And Al was in a wheelchair by then. So, I mean, I hadn't seen Al in like over 20 years and he was walking the last time I saw him. So now he's in a wheelchair. He's much older and he was still battling with alcoholism.
Okay.
And he said he hadn't seen Amber in a while. He's like, I haven't seen my little girl in so long. So that's why I took him a picture of her.
That was
And
nice.
I took him an 8x10, and it brought tears to his eyes to be able to see his daughter.
Yeah.
And he talked about Kim and how he wished he could see Kim, and all that stuff. And I would sit there and I would spend my day with Al, and then I would go home and try to cope, because it was a lot. That's the only reason why I haven't spoken. I know it's been 13 years. It's still really hard.
Yeah.
Because she should be here, and I do the same thing as Bear. I do the what ifs. What if I would have known? Because I had to open my door to her. She could have moved in with me. If there was something bad going on in her life, my door was always open.
Yeah.
She called me in, it was 2010, 2009.
Okay.
Either fall of 2009, spring of 2010. And she was going from Florida to New York.
Okay.
And she said that she was going to stop by, because I was like, by this time I had had my daughter. And I was like, I just had a baby. You should come by and meet her. And she said, I will. I want to meet her. I'll come see her. And we made plans for Amber, next time she came down that way to come by. And Amber never got that trip. She never got that visit.
Wow.
So, but Amber, she
Did she tell you what was going on with her? Why she went to New York? Did you know she was?
I asked her, because last I heard she was married.
Yeah.
And all she said was they weren't together anymore. That's all she told me. She's like, I'm not with Don. I don't know what happened between them.
Right.
I really don't. I don't know if Amber just didn't want to tell me.
Sure.
Because I would worry,
easy.
or was embarrassed. I really don't know. She didn't tell me that. But she said that she was going to New York with her sister.
Got it.
So, like, she let me know, like, hey, Kim's got it all laid out. I'm going up there. She's going to take care of me.
Do you know when the drugs came into the picture and why?
Amber, when she called me in 2009, 2010, she was like, do you know anyone that I can get rid of? I can't remember what pill it was. And I was like, no, I don't, because I don't do that kind of stuff. I was like, no, I don't even know who I could ask. I was like, Amber, I haven't been around anything like that. I don't live around that. By then I had been married for almost 15 years. Okay. Or 13 years or whatever it was. I was like, no, I was a stay-at-home mom, like kind of like soccer mom. I had that life. So we lived two totally different lives, I guess, by that point.
Yeah.
Where she was still kind of trying to find her ground. I think when Amber called me and was going from Florida to New York, I think she was already on them.
Got it.
She just didn't tell me.
Yeah.
So, because it was a very out of the blue call. She'd never asked me anything like that before. So to just out of the blue call me and ask me that it wasn't like her at all.
Did you get a sense that she was different outside of that at that point? Like, did you know?
She still sounded like herself. She still sounded like herself. And it was a very quick phone call. It was like maybe 5 minutes. It was almost like she was in a hurry.
Got it.
I don't know if she was trying to go down the phone to see who she could get rid of these two. I don't know. But it wasn't with me. I know that much.
Yeah.
So I guess I wasn't what she needed, or I wasn't the right person for the job. And, that was the end of the phone call. And I didn't hear from her again. And then, the news story broke and it said it was possibly her. And I reached out to Kim, and Kim told me, we're waiting because they couldn't identify her straight off like that.
Yeah.
And I remember it being the end of January 2011, I guess, somewhere in there, that they confirmed it was her. And my whole world shattered because I prayed it wasn't her.
Yeah.
When she went missing, and I know that Kim didn't do a missing persons report, I would have filed one. But where I hadn't talked to her in so long, I didn't know she was missing.
Okay.
Because we drifted apart again. She would be on her Facebook, but not every day. It was a post here or a post there. I never knew, and so like I said, same as Bear. It's like the shoulda, woulda, coulda. Like what? But you can't do that,
Yeah.
I wish I could go back in time.
Of
and
course.
change things. And I can't. I won't live with the regret. I've done it for 13 years. And I know I'm not the one that did that.
And you shouldn't.
And Amber still lives through my family.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter, actually, she's married. Her husband's in the Air Force. She's now 21. She just had my first granddaughter, and we have given her Amber as her middle name.
Oh, wow.
So Amber's name is carried on. My daughter, my kids didn't know her because they were little and Amber didn't come around by then.
Yeah.
But I've always talked about her. So my kids always felt like they knew her. She was their aunt.
Yeah.
It's more or less how my kids felt. So it brings me happiness to know that she's not gone completely and that my kids will talk about her. So she won't be forgotten. Because she doesn't need to be forgotten. There's no one that was like her.
She was a very bright light in this world.
I mean, I've met a lot of people between, college, having my children and meeting different people. I've met a lot of people, and there's never been anybody that is like Amber. Like I said, there's this imprinting power of a personality that she had. It was so genuine.
Yeah.
You just knew it wasn't being faked. And that's really hard to come by.
Yeah.
So that's what I remember most about her, is just this sweet, loving girl. And even though she was so small, she loved so much and so large, you would have thought she was 7'5".
Wow.
I mean, she's just a good person. I can't say enough. I know a lot of people say that about people, they're a good person. She really was.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you go to the memorial?
No, because it was in Lindenhurst.
Okay.
So, like I said, I have kids. My money goes straight to bills.
Sure.
We live paycheck to paycheck. I wanted to so badly. And that's when we were told, Kim told us, that instead of having her up there, they were going to do the funeral there. But since all of Amber's friends and her dad were in Wilmington, she was going to bring Amber to Wilmington.
Okay.
And that she would need help setting up the funeral. And I was like, I'll help you. Anything you need, I'll help you. And I kind of kept getting the runaround from Kim. And Kim messaged myself and said she was on the way to Wilmington from New York, bringing Amber's ashes, and she had a flat tire. And could I let her have my credit card number so she could get a repair? And I was like, no, I'm not giving you my credit card. She asked for money, and I really wanted to be there for Amber. And so I sent money. My mom actually sent the money.
Wow.
Western Union did, because my mom worked at Kroger at the time. They had a Western Union. My mom went ahead and just filled it right out and sent the money, because we wanted to get Kim down to Wilmington in one piece and get Amber there.
Yeah.
I didn't hear from Kim again. She took the money. That was it. I have reached out. I've asked. I don't get an answer. I get answers to other things like, hey, go see my dad.
Got it.
But I don't get the answer about, hey, where's Amber? I've asked Amber's niece, Marissa. Marissa doesn't know. I've been told she was scattered in Long Island. Then I was told she was with her parents. She's not with her parents.
Yeah.
I've gone to the cemetery where her parents are. I've spoke to the director. He took me right out to the plot number where Margie is, her mom.
Yep.
Now her mom and dad. There's no headstone. It's just grass. There's no marker.
Wow.
So if she's there, they don't have a record of it. So I didn't get to say goodbye to my friend at all. So
Yeah.
I wasn't robbed just once. I was robbed twice. And that I think was what hurts the most, is not being able to say goodbye.
Yeah.
So I've said goodbye. I still talk to her. I mean, I'm Christian. I believe in God.
Yeah.
So I talk to her, and I know she's in a better place, but it would have been nice to be able to have that final resolution, and I didn't get it. So I don't talk to Kim anymore. Both the parents are deceased. I'm friends with her aunt and her cousin. I don't think that they want to talk. I mean, we've all been through it for 13 years.
Yeah.
I think they're finally just ready to move on. And I mean, I move on, but I'm not going to let her memory go to waste.
Like I said, she was a sister to you. So.
Yeah, between listening and talking, I love Bear. Okay, not to bring him up.
No,
He's a true, genuine person.
He is.
And when I listened to his interview, he's the only one that has kept it real. I'm giving it to you 100%.
Yeah.
He's the only one that's kept it real.
Correct.
And that's why I reached out to him, because when I heard his interview, I was like, he's the only one that has told the truth.
Yeah.
100%.
And he's like off the camera. He's real.
He is a very great guy. Okay. And I'm glad I've gotten to know him. And he loved Amber.
He definitely does.
I can tell he did. And I will tell you, I do remember when Amber was in New York, on her Facebook page, she had made a post, because this just triggered it, talking, I don't know who she's talking about. Could have been Bear, because, Amber has crushes.
Yeah.
Could have been someone else. I don't know. But it was, I'm on I can't remember what train it was, the L train, the U train. I'm not from up there, so don't kill me with the train things. I don't know. She was on a train headed home to see her man. Oh. Now, this is way before anything had ever happened.
Sure.
So I know she was either dating someone or had a crush that she felt was her man. Could have been Bear. I don't know. I just know she loved wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And even if, someone wasn't interested, she's still going to have a crush on you. You're still her man,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So I was like, hey, she's happy. That's how I left it. I was like, she's happy.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was to that point. I have family members that have battled with addiction, and I know the signs.
Yeah.
But where I didn't see her every day, we didn't video chat, and we weren't talking on the phone anymore, I didn't get to see those signs. So the Amber I still had in my memory is the Amber I've always known. Everyone has demons. Everything, drugs suck.
Yeah.
And
they're a demon.
I can understand why I hate that she went that road. But I also know what it's like. I've seen people that hit rock bottom like that. Okay. And my brothers did things that I'll never agree with.
Yeah.
I know they don't mean it. It's the drugs.
Yeah.
And I hate that it had that hold on her, because she was a strong person. But when it came to things like that, I don't think that she could have battled it anyways. Yeah. Watching my brothers try to come off of it was very hard for them, and they're strong men.
Yeah.
She's just so little.
Chance of recovery.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wish that she stayed in Florida. I mean, with the church. She was so happy there. Yeah. I wish I knew what happened. I don't know what made that change from everything being so positive to just I don't know where that turn took place.
Yeah.
And she never told me. So
was she officially divorced or just separated?
I don't know.
Okay.
After she called me 2009, whatever, I remember a man calling me.
Okay.
And it was a Florida number. And this is, of course, before like cell phones would show you who it is. Mm-hmm. It just said Clearwater, Florida. And I'm like, that's where Amber was living. So I answered it. And I remember the guy having a deep voice. And I think he said he was Don's brother.
Oh, wow.
It could have been Don, for all I know. I've never met him. Yeah. And I never heard his voice. And he said that he was looking for Amber. Had I seen her? And I'm assuming he got my phone number maybe off of her phone bill.
Got it.
Or I don't know how he got my number, but that's the only thing I can think of is phone records. And I was like, no, I haven't seen her. I mean, like, she called, but I never saw her.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I'm trying to locate her. So I don't know if something happened and he was either trying to reconcile with her or she had done something and he wanted to press charges. I have no idea. I didn't, they never told me. And I never heard from that guy again. He didn't call again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously he knew, I haven't talked to her. And that was kind of the end of it until I saw it on the news.
Yeah.
And then everything it changed. So, yeah, I mean, that's probably the best I can recollect. Cause like I said, it's 25 to 28 years.
Yeah.
And we did a lot, but it was always the same routine, the music, playing, dancing, doing each other's makeup.
Music was important to her.
It was a release for her. Like I said, with Tupac, she loved his music because she looked at it as poetry.
Got it.
It's like, his lyrics are deep. It's not.
Did she write any poetry or any journaling, anything like that herself?
Not at Nesbitt Courts that I can remember, but she probably did on her notebooks. But I will tell you, once school was done, like it's 3:30 and we're home at 4:00. Once she was done with homework, those books didn't get touched again. We're going to school because we have to.
Yeah.
She didn't love school like that, like.
Gotcha.
No.
Get good grades or anything?
I will tell you though, I thank Amber so much because there's one movie that I had never seen, and I mean I'm like her, I'm a huge movie music buff. There was one movie I had never seen before, and I'm a huge Johnny Depp fan, and she loved Johnny Depp. She's like, have you ever seen the movie Cry Baby? And I'm like, no, I've never seen it. She's like, well, it's kind of like Grease. It's a musical. You'll like it. And I remember us laying on the couch and watching Cry Baby. That is now one of my top 3 favorite movies.
Wow.
So we're now like, my kids love it.
Yeah.
So
good movie.
She's changed, whether she realized it or not. She's a big stepping stone in my life and in my kids' lives. So, I thank her for that, because had I not met her, had I not known her like that, a lot of things in my life would probably be different.
Sure.
I know that we didn't walk the same path, and I don't want to say I'm thankful for that, but I'm glad that I got pregnant at 15 and married, and it's the wrong way to do it. I mean, I went back and did my schooling and everything, but honestly, I think that's what saved my life. Or I probably would have been right there with her.
Yeah.
In all honesty.
Sometimes things happen in life for a reason.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy the more I think about it, because we were always together, and had I not met him and that wedge started, I still would have been right there with her.
Yeah.
And I don't know what she did, after she was 16, 17 years old. Only just the things that she told me about,
Did she tell you why she moved to Florida?
No, she didn't. Like I said, that was in 2008, 2007, 2008 when we spoke. She just said, yeah, I'm living in Florida now. And that was more or less the gist of it. She didn't tell me. She told me that her mom had passed. She's like, I'm living in Florida now. She's like, mom's gone. She said mom died in the hospital. I don't remember what. Something about codeine allergy or something. I'm not sure.
Okay.
She said that they were suing the hospital. I don't know if they really did.
Wow.
Because she really thought the hospital killed her mom.
Wow.
And so I'm assuming they called her Sissy. That's what they called Amber's mom. They call her Margie, but they would call her Sissy.
Sissy.
And I remember her saying that, like, Sissy's not here. And it affected her deeply. She loved her mom.
Yeah.
She loved her mom a lot. So I don't know if maybe that was the turning point. I really don't know. I do remember when I wrote Amber, I wrote her on, it must have been MySpace, because the Facebook connected. The MySpace did not. The reason why I knew, or I thought maybe it was her, I remember finding her on a mugshot. This is terrible. Her and Kim both. and it was for shoplifting,
Okay.
for stealing toothpaste
Oh,
and a toothbrush
wow.
and something else. It was toiletries.
Essential.
Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't to gain money or,
Yeah.
she was trying to just have good hygiene.
Yeah.
So that told me right there, she's not in a good place.
This
And
was
that's where I was like,
Florida?
this was, I think, after Florida. This was after Florida, now that I think about it. Because I remember writing her and going, hey, girl, I saw a mugshot of you. Are you okay? And she didn't respond.
Oh,
So that's where I'm like, I think maybe she was embarrassed.
sure.
And I can't remember if that was in North Carolina.
So
Or if it was
everywhere
Florida.
they went, it was Kim and Amber, right? It seems like they were
Yeah.
not far away from
And
you.
then once Amber was in Florida, I think Kim left and it was just Amber down there. And Kim was either in New York or Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And then that's when it was, hey, I'm going up where Kim is.
Yeah.
And Kim's going to help me and take care of me.
She was more of a
So-
parental figure than a sister?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, when Kim was escorting back in like 98, I remember her making the comment, if you were older, I'd get you a job.
Yeah.
Um,
What did Amber think of that?
I don't remember Amber really responding. I remember her kind of giggling like, yeah, right.
Yeah. She was young.
But she didn't seem like, oh yeah, get me a job. I really want to do it. No, there was no response like that. It was like, oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
And walking out of the bathroom. Because I remember Kim always being in the bathroom getting ready.
Got it.
Always getting ready for something. And Amber and I just being little kids and stuck at the apartment, hanging out. So it really, for her to do that, like I said, I'm not putting blame on Kim at all.
Sure.
But she did introduce that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And kind of glammed and glorified it.
Yeah.
And made it look like easy money. And I think that was like the catalyst, like, hey, I'm going to do this. I really, like I said, I don't want to put blame on her, but it is what it is. I'm pretty sure I know for a fact, just hearing it from other people that they were doing things together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know Kim was doing it years before Amber. So Kim was wise to the game and Amber was learning. So I know for a fact Kim is the one that schooled her on it. She had to have. I mean, I know Amber probably learned things on her own. I know Kim probably didn't show everything or tell her everything, but the majority of it, the fat of it, I'm sure she did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the way they talk, like I said, Amber had a problem. She didn't go to mom and dad. She went to Kim. When Amber went missing, and like I said, Kim didn't file the police report. I didn't even know that, Amber was living with Dave and Bear. I didn't know that. I always assumed she was with Kim. And Dave told me, no missing person report was filed, that he asked Kim, and Kim was like, oh, she'll be back.
So you didn't know she was missing?
No, not at all. Because like I said, we stopped talking.
Yeah.
Drifted apart. Like I said, she called me in 2010.
Yeah.
Trying to unload pills. I knew nothing about it. Couldn't help her. Hung up the phone. That was the last time I spoke to her on the phone.
Okay.
Last time I heard her voice. And she told me she was going to New York. I would see her post on Facebook every so often. It would show up in my news feed.
Yeah.
I'm on the train, or I'm going to go see my man, or I'm going home to see my man, that kind of thing. So I'm like, okay, she's got her life.
Yeah.
I didn't pry. I'm not one of those. I'm not a nosy person. I don't pry unless you tell me things. I'm not gonna ask.
Yeah.
I have that don't ask, don't tell kind of thing. It's not my business. If you want me to know, you'll tell me. But yeah, like I said, we stopped talking. I didn't hear from her. I noticed her Facebook kind of had gone quiet, but she didn't post every day. It was like sporadic.
Sure.
And like I said, saw it on the news. Reached out to
Facebook
him.
wasn't as big back then as it is today, too. So.
No. But like I said, I saw it on the news and it showed her picture. And actually, my sister-in-law called me because I didn't have cable. And she's like, I just saw Amber's face on the news. And I'm like, what? So she lived like 3 blocks down from me. And I went down to her house and she had recorded it for me to be able to see. And I just remember my gut hitting the floor. And I was like, no way. And I remember using her computer. Like, I literally watched the news go by, and I got on my sister-in-law's computer, and I immediately reached out to Kim. And I was like, where's Amber? What's going on? And she reached out, and she's like, we don't know if it's her. We're waiting for DNA to come back to let us know. And I think it was like 6 weeks. It was the end of January when she was notified. And Kim wrote me and was like, it's her. It's her. And the thing that got me was, I don't know how long Amber had been missing, because like I said, I know that there was no missing persons report.
Yeah.
It makes it hard because Amber went missing the weekend of my birthday. My birthday's September 5th.
Wow.
So every year, I think about my friend walked out the door and she didn't come back. And it hurts. It hurts real bad because of what a beautiful person she was.
Yeah.
When she went missing and I didn't know, and we found out, when they found her, we found out it was her. Kim said she wasn't alarmed because she felt like Amber had just gone off for the weekend to go party or go be Amber.
Yeah.
Amber would, if she had friends, she would go hang out. So, I mean, it's believable. Maybe 2 days.
Yeah.
Not
months.
Yeah, no, there's no excuse for that.
Have you ever discussed that with Kim?
And I didn't know that Kim did not file the police report until the news told me.
Did she filed it?
She made it sound like she filed a report for Amber.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I never questioned it. I thought she was looking for her sister, because they look so much alike. Like, Kim is so much taller than Amber, but they have the same facial structure.
Yeah.
So I just figured, they're attached. She's gonna find her. She's not missing. But when I found out she didn't report her missing, it kind of blew me away. I was just like, how do you not report someone missing?
Yeah.
How do you not report her missing?
Your sister.
It's, even if not even just her sister, like the way Amber was, like I said, that energy, you're gonna miss that. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like when she would walk out of the room, it's dead silence. So when she's gone, it's dead silence. It's just not there, I don't know why. I don't know why she did it. I don't know why. I question, I've asked. I don't get answers. She'll view my message. She won't respond. I can ask something else. I'll get an answer. It's kind of hit or miss. And I gave up. Like I said, it's been 13 years. I wasn't going to say anything out of respect. Yeah. But I'm like, you've borrowed money from me. You told me you were setting up a funeral for her. You ghosted me. You took my money. You didn't do the funeral. And you can't even tell me if you spread her in Long Island, if you spread her in Wilmington, where did you put her? And she knows that I loved her, like,
yeah.
Why do that?
Obvious. Yeah.
I have a lot of questions, and I started to lose hope. I was starting to think we weren't going to find the person that did that. And I really didn't think that it would happen in my lifetime. So I kind of assumed this person would never be captured. I'd never find out where Amber went. And Kim would never answer me. So I've kind of made peace with that, knowing I'm not going to get my answers. I would like them, but I know I'm not going to get them. So I pushed all that out and said, I'm not going to let that taint the memory of Amber. Because that's not her.
Correct.
She's not her sister. She was her own person. And she lived her life the way she wanted to live her life.
Yeah.
And no one can judge her for that. Because everyone has made a mistake in their life. No one is perfect.
Yeah.
And everyone learns from their mistakes. There are some things people cannot tell you, like this isn't safe or you shouldn't do this. There's going to be things where you go, you know what? I'm going to do it because I'm not you and you're not me. And sometimes you have to learn on your own. And I won't blame I won't blame anyone. I just wish she had a better chance at life.
Yeah.
Because she did. She had her whole life ahead of her.
Yeah.
Amber, I feel like if Amber wouldn't have gone down the wrong path, she would still be involved with church. She probably would have adopted Gabriel and more children. Because as far as I know, Amber couldn't have kids. I know that her and Don were expecting at one time. She did not tell me. I noticed it on her Facebook. There is a picture of her, and I believe the child's name was going to be Chloe.
Okay.
And it said, I was pregnant with Chloe here. You can see my belly. And she did look a little pudgy. And I remember asking her, and she said that she had miscarried.
Oh my God.
I asked her, and this was in 2008 when we spoke on the phone. We were catching up. And that's when she told me, I'm taking care of this little baby, blah, 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 blah. Amber couldn't have children because at a very young age, 4, 5, Amber was molested in, I believe, Gastonia, because that's where they moved from, was Gastonia to Wilmington.
Yeah.
I don't know who did it. I can't remember if it was a neighbor or if it was a family member, but someone hurt her very bad when she was a child, and it messed her up. So I know if Amber couldn't physically have children, she would have adopted a dozen if she could have.
Sure.
And that's what I like to hold on to, is the fact that she was a lover. She loved all people. She gave everyone a chance. And I try to do that myself. I don't try to judge. And like I said, she's touched me in ways and made me, I raised my children different because of what happened to her.
Yeah.
I don't let my kids go places. For those who think like, oh, it's not real, it's on TV, it'll never happen to me. You can go your whole life thinking that, because I did. You're not untouchable. It can happen to you. Especially for a small town girl like Amber. If it can happen to her, it can happen to anyone. So I keep my kids close because of what's happened. Because when you love something so much and then when it's taken,
Gotta protect.
yeah, you automatically go into protect mode. And I know that I helicopter parent my child way too much, or my children. They just know I love them really hard.
Sure.
It's so bad to where we share our GPS locations. That way, like my 24-year-old son, he doesn't live in my city. Neither does my 21-year-old daughter. She lives out of the state. I have their GPS locations. That way, if something ever happens, they break down something,
more common.
I have their locations.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I don't ever want someone that I love to ever go missing and not know where their last point was. Never, ever, ever. So yeah, a lot of it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm still in protect mode, and I probably will be till the day I die, just because
It's a dangerous world.
it really is. I used to remember my parents going, "Oh, you don't live in the world that I lived in," and I'm now saying it to my kids because it's so much more dangerous between technology and the internet.
Correct. Oh.
And I was more or less done. Sorry, like I said, my mom called.
No worries.
I was more or less done. I know I'm rambling. It's just, I love that girl so much. I could talk about her for years.
Yeah. I did want to ask you, if you could say something to Amber today, what would you say?
Oh, man. How much I love you.
Yeah.
And I wish she was here, but if she was here today, I would have so much to tell her, so much to fill her in on, so many pictures to show her.
Yeah.
I know that I would pass her my granddaughter and go, you're going to love her. She has the best personality. Just watch this.
Yeah.
there's not enough time in the day for me to say everything that I want to say to her.
Sure.
Just thank you for being my sister. Thank you for being there for me. Thank you for giving me the belly laughs that no one's ever given me. Thank you for just being who you are. Thank you for always keeping it real, being down to earth, and giving me an honest opinion about everything. Because she's the only trustworthy person that I've ever met. I trust her with my life.
Sure.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Trying to not cry in front of everybody that's going to see this. I'm sorry. I make an ugly face when I cry. I just wish she was here so she could still be a part of my family.
Yeah.
Because my mom's not in good health, and Amber loved my mom, and I know that she would want to be here and to be able to meet my kids, and I would love to meet any kids that she had, because I honestly feel like if we wouldn't have lost touch, we would be scheduling a yearly visit with each other where she would either come here or I'd have to go to her.
Yeah.
But I know one day I'm going to see her again.
Yeah.
And I believe that.
Yeah.
And I'm ready for that day. Not too soon, but
Yeah.
I know it's coming, and I'm so happy to know that my friend's not hurting, and
Yeah.
my friend's happy. And that's all I can ask for now.
Yeah.
And I know she's happy because we have someone in custody.
Yeah.
And I know she wouldn't forgive him.
Yeah.
Okay? She's a forgiving person, but not that.
Yeah.
Not that. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
Um,
He doesn't deserve to be forgiven.
no. And he doesn't have a name to me. He's a monster, and he can rot in hell for all I care.
Yeah.
I hope he sees it one day. I hope he sees this video, and I hope he rots in hell, because there's a special place in hell for people like him.
Yeah.
And I just hope that she fought hard. I hope she hurt him. That's all I can say. I hope she hurt him. She's a tough chick. She's a very tough girl. And man, if she had been here today, I can only imagine. I can only imagine what she would have done in this world had she been clean and had a chance.
Yes.
That girl can move mountains, okay? With the way she could get people together and help people.
And she was young.
And that's why I'm like, I can only imagine, like, if she would have had the resources, okay, just the way she was, her drive. She was a very driven person. Limitless. It would have been limitless. She was talented. She's a people person. I see Amber working as like a social worker.
Yeah.
I see Amber helping others, or nursing, because she was good at taking care of people.
Yeah.
That's where I see her. I see her as a lover, a carer, and a nurturer. Never, ever a spiteful, vindictive. I know that they say that Amber and them, they were doing, they were basically taking people's money so she wouldn't have to have sex with them anymore. I believe that. And I hate that it came to that, but it's because she was sick.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't have done that if she wasn't, okay? She wouldn't just take someone's money.
It's a sickness.
She would have done without, because I've watched that girl do without, okay? So I know that she's not, for anyone who doesn't know her, she wasn't that kind of person. Drugs will just change you and make you someone you're not.
Yeah.
And I would never just blame it on that, but that wasn't her. That's not who she was. And it's unfortunate that it happened that way. And for anybody that does watch this and that does need help, go get it. Like, don't wait till tomorrow. Go get help. Because if you just keep putting it off, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and get that help. And that's why I'm proud of Bear. He's getting help. I'm proud of him. And I wish Amber, somebody would have been there for her to get her help and go, you don't need to do this anymore. Because like I said, she could have came and lived with me. She wouldn't have had to work a day in her life. She could have stayed right here. I'd have taken care of her.
Yeah.
Just so I know she was safe. I hate to know that she wasn't safe. And I kind of wish her sister would have made sure she was safe
Yeah.
instead of just throwing her in the middle of it, because she was a small person. And like I said, she's not a fighter like that. She's not going to put up her dukes and fight.
Yeah.
She just
And it
wasn't that
seemed
kind
like
of
she
person.
might have even been a little innocent because she cared so much, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
maybe ill intentions.
I feel like she could have been easily taken advantage of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amber was one that would believe somebody's word over anything. The bad signs could be right there in her face.
Yeah.
But she would listen to them, and she's like, they're not, they're good. They've just had bad stuff happen. It happens to everyone.
She wanted to believe.
Exactly. She had faith in anybody.
Yeah.
She'd give anyone the benefit of the doubt. And I think that might have been her demise. That really is what did it for her. I don't really think it was just, it was drugs. It was, she needed her fix. But I think it's also the fact of she's a trustworthy person. If you tell her something, she's going to believe it.
Yeah.
And I remember Dave telling me, because we spoke after, she had passed, and Dave telling me that she was on the phone all day.
Yeah.
And this person made her feel.
Dave Challer, right?
And it made me think back to when she was at Joey's and would be on the phone talking to her friends. She'd stay on the phone for hours, like not even really talking about anything. Just basically she'd be talking to everyone in the room while she's on the phone, but she's on the phone.
Yeah.
And so when he said, he made her comfortable, she was on the phone all day long. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like Amber. And then, saying that she left the phone, I'm like, that doesn't sound like Amber. So like, I don't know what was said to make her feel comfortable, like that comfortable to leave her security like that. I still don't understand it. I've asked myself so many times, and I can't answer that because it's so not like her.
Yeah.
With her being small and being meek, she knows she could be overpowered. I just can't imagine what he said.
Yeah. And she had plans in place to protect herself. So
exactly.
And
like David them said, I can't believe that she left and she went out.
Yeah, the alcohol. Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, like, speaking personally, I don't think she would have went with him had she known that's the same dude that they ran out of the house.
That's what I was thinking.
No, she wouldn't have. She most certainly wouldn't have. She would have stayed the hell away from him, and kept as much distance as possible. Because like I said, Amber doesn't like confrontation. She wasn't a fighter.
Yeah.
So, she wouldn't have gone with this same person. There's no way. So he had to have made her feel comfortable, offered her a boatload of money is all I can think of, to where she just threw caution to the wind and went, He had to have made the deal sound too good to be true.
Yeah.
I just wish I could have been there when that phone call was happening and could have heard what was going on.
Of course.
I wouldn't have let her go out the door. I wouldn't have let her.
I think quite a few people feel that way, for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't have let her. That's the part that gets me.
Yeah.
And I don't blame Dave either. Dave and I are friends.
Yeah.
I don't blame him one bit. He had his own stuff going on too.
Yeah.
And everyone in that house was an adult. Okay. So no one is to blame for the other person.
No,
if anything, they all took care of each other. Like Bear said, no matter how messed up that dysfunctional family was, they were a family.
Yeah.
And I know that he would protect her, and I know Dave would too.
Yeah.
And Amber's not going to surround herself with bad people. Okay. So I know they're good people. They may have problems. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
So I don't judge them for that. I love both Dave and Bear. As much as I love Amber. I've got a little fly flying around over here. Sorry. I do. I love them all.
Yeah.
And I respect them. And I hope one day I get to meet Bear in person.
Yeah. I know he speaks highly of you too.
It's the last little bit I have of Amber, He can kind of fill in the gap for me in those years that I didn't get to see her.
Sure.
And just like I can fill in gaps for him for an Amber he didn't know, he didn't know her as a kid. And kind of paints a whole picture. So she'll be able to carry on through all of us. And I know she's got friends in Wilmington.
Yeah.
I don't know very many after her and I because we didn't speak. I
Yeah.
don't know if there was anyone as close as we were. I know that there wasn't anyone as close as we were from 13 to 16 years old.
Yeah.
Maybe later on. Yeah, I'm sure she's got church friends too. I wish they would come forward and you could hear more, like maybe some kids that lived on the beach,
Yeah.
like when she first moved to the beach, because I can only imagine when you've got the boardwalk right there and it's summertime, what kind of fun you probably had. So I didn't get to see all that, unfortunately, but I'm glad that I had the time with her that I had. And yeah, I'm happy to have known her, and she'll always be with me. Yeah. I'll continue to watch the case. I'm going to pray for justice.
Yeah.
And when it happens,
Want to do an impact statement as well?
I would love to be there.
Yeah.
So with her funeral, we didn't get to go. Money was tight. Like I said, she said she's going to bring her down. That was fine. Because I now live in Tennessee. I'm not even in Wilmington anymore. We moved up here after Hurricane Florence. We lost our home during hurricane and we came up here. My mom lives here. Whenever we were in Wilmington, she's in New York, that whole bit, and all that happened. And they had the funeral. They started having the vigils.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go to the vigils. And money is just not there. I don't know where I could stay in New York. I'm not familiar with the area.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those, like I said, I live my life differently now because of what happened.
Yeah.
I want to know where I'm going to be. I want to know what it's like around there. So I don't like unexpected things.
Smart.
So we didn't go. I met a really nice lady. Her name is Michelle Kuttner. She's fantastic. She's a good friend of mine.
Okay.
They were placing the crosses on Ocean Parkway for the girls.
Yeah.
And Michelle helped me with Amber's cross.
Okay.
Amber needed to have something for herself. And Michelle's friend that owns a sign shop was kind enough to make that cross, that white cross with the gold lettering and the angel.
Yeah.
And Megan Waterman's mom, Lorraine, and Melissa Can, Maureen's sister, actually put that cross up for us.
Okay.
And lit the candle and placed the flowers there because I couldn't make it.
Yeah.
And I kept hoping, they were going to have that vigil every year that we could get up there and I could meet these amazing ladies, because Lorraine and Mary and all of them, they're fantastic people.
Yeah.
And Michelle's filled me in on them. She's met all of them. And I hope to meet Michelle one day. And it just showed me there's still kindness in this world.
Yeah.
Because Michelle didn't know us from Adam. And she didn't have to do that.
No.
And she did. And she did it because Amber and the rest of the victims, they're real people. They're not, they're prostitutes. No, they're aunts, they're cousins, they're sisters, they're best friends. They are real people, and they didn't deserve any of that. And she deserved a place to show, where she was. And that meant the world to me, to know that Amber still had people out there that didn't even know her, hadn't even met her, but loved her.
Love her.
And that right there showed me, like, she's still able to touch people, even though she's not physically here anymore. And I still talk to Michelle. Like I said, she's a good friend of mine. And I hope whenever we go to court, when this goes to court and it's final, if they let us in the courtroom, because I don't know if they will, they may not.
They will.
I will stand in the hallway if I have to.
Yeah.
I will be there the day that judgment comes down and there's a sentencing. I want to be there.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss that. I've missed too much, and I refuse to miss that.
Yeah.
I will see it through. I know Kim, I'm sure she'll be there, it's for her sister, but I'll be there right there. I will see it through. If Amber doesn't have anyone there, I will be there to support her.
Yeah.
100%.
And you should, you can.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what it's going to be like. I've never had to go through any of this before.
Yeah.
But I know she would do it for me.
Yeah.
If it had happened to me. So yeah, all I can do is pay my friend back.
Yeah.
I wish it could be more than that. I wish I could give her things
Well,
to make her still here.
their memory alive by
Yeah.
sharing all this with us. You know,
Yeah.
I do appreciate that. I want to thank you for that as well.
Zach, thank you though, man, for taking the time
Yeah.
for people to understand what she was like.
I think that's important.
Because she was a sweetheart. She was a sweet girl.
Yeah.
And people really need to, if they just look at her, they can see the light in her eyes.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you bringing that forward and letting people have a little bit of Amber to understand what kind of person she was. And maybe it'll open up other people's eyes where they think it won't happen to them.
Change.
It can, and you should always be careful. And if you need help, go get it.
Yeah.
That's the best that I can say. Yeah.
Done. It's not easy, but it can be done.
Yeah. It's a hard road to walk, but that's a much harder road to walk.
Yeah.
So I hope that somebody gets something out of this and it helps them. Because if she can't be here, I hope that people can learn from what's happened to her.
Yeah.
And realize it, if you're on that path, don't travel it. Stop where you are. You're worthy. Like, you're worth more than that. She was worthy. She was worth more than that.
Correct.
And that's what people have to remember.
A policing reform as well, because I mean, at least in my opinion,
Big
this
time.
could have been solved a long time.
Man, okay. So when it happened, they found him. I immediately wrote Dave, and I was like, they got him. And Dave was like, it's the same guy that I told them about in the beginning. And I was like, are you serious? He's like, it's the same ogre Frankenstein looking guy. He's like, we fought, we tussled. That is the same guy. He's like, I remember his truck. I remember him. And Bear said the same thing. He was like, his professional picture, he didn't recognize him. But as soon as he saw that mugshot, he was like, that's him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Dave, you told the police this? He was like, I told them this in the beginning of the investigation. And I'm like, it frustrates me. I'm so thankful for the new task force, okay?
I think
if it wasn't for them, we would still be treading water. Nothing would be done. I'm so thankful for those men and women, okay? I'm so thankful because I feel like it would never have been solved. People looked at them like they're sex workers. They're not worthy. Who cares? There were a lot of people that cared because they weren't just that. And I'm not going to name names or anything, but I do. I feel like it was swept under the rug. Like the FBI wanted to come in, but then you kick the FBI out of it. As soon as I heard the FBI come in, I'm like, great, we're going to get answers. Yeah. And then, had the FBI leave off the investigation. And I'm like, why? Why would you kick out extra resources, extra money to help you solve this case? Why? None of it made sense to me. It infuriated me. That's why I never called to try to speak to detectives, because I was like, I'm not going to get an answer. Like, they weren't giving the other families answers.
Yeah.
That's why it kind of burns me up. Like, this dude's wife's like all over the place, like getting GoFundMe's and everything. And I'm like, no one realizes that the victims' families, how much they had to battle, an uphill battle, just to even be heard.
Yeah.
Okay. Doors were being shut in their face. No one wanted to accept their calls. No one was listening to them.
Yeah.
And now there's like this open platform, and it's like, it's so not right. But I'm glad that they're on this. Okay. But yeah, it's infuriating to know that tip has been there the whole time.
Yeah.
It was never looked at. It was brushed under paperwork. And it's like, somebody knew something. I don't know who. Like I said, I'm not going to say names.
Yeah.
But someone's in. It's just, it makes no sense to me.
Doesn't.
It's definitely the tip of the iceberg, I feel.
Sure.
It's the iceberg effect. There's definitely more to it.
Yeah.
And it also makes me question, how many other families were silenced? How many people have been brushed off? How many cases have not been solved that could be solved because other people were in control? So I'm hoping with the new police work, and I have faith in these people,
Yeah.
we're going to get our answers.
Yeah.
It might not be all of it, but I think they're going to find a lot more. I'm just waiting for trial because I know they're not going to say anything until trial, but
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be a lot more.
You can't compromise this, so it makes
There's
sense.
no way that, not to bring him up, there's no way this man started in his 40s. He's been doing this, just me thinking, he's been doing this since way younger, if
And
not
there's only
teenage years.
There's only 3 of the girls out of all of them. There's a lot.
No, yeah, I'm not going to speculate. There's a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think he's charged for 3. That's it.
Yeah. I hope more charges are coming.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how Maureen's family feels right now.
Yeah.
I love Missy to death. She's a great girl. And Maureen deserves justice as well.
100%.
Yeah, all of them do. I pray for all those families because we're all hurting.
Yeah.
We're all, it's weird. Like, you don't want to be grouped in that group, but we're all in this group of what happened.
There's a community. It's amazing.
It's a messed up community. The reason why we're there. But let me tell you, they're a family. Okay. Yeah. They help each other. They're there for each other. So, there's always some good that comes out of it. And so there's good there. It's just not what we all planned or what we expected our lives to be like.
Correct. That makes sense.
Nothing's ever predictable, So I'm just praying for the day of justice. That's all I can do. And I'll be there. I will be there. I will be there when that gavel hits. I will be there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah.
I'll see it through. And I'll see my friend one day. She's smiling right now. She's smiling right now, knowing that he's in handcuffs. He's not, he can't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
We just have to make sure he can't get out and hurt anybody ever again.
Ever. Yeah.
Ever. So, but there's more of them like him. They're out there.
Yeah.
How sickening as it is.
It's scary.
Yeah, it is. So, but thank you, Zach.
Thanks, Melissa.
I don't know if I can share a whole lot more without starting to tear up. So I'm trying to.
You've shared a lot, and I really.
Yeah, I'm trying to maintain my composure. I'm probably going to boo-hoo when the camera goes off. I just don't want to ugly cry in front of your followers.
Oh, no worries. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm going to click off. Hold on.